everybody. I'm Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. This is This Week in Metals. You may notice that we have a third box this week. In that third box is Mr. Patrick Rooney. How are you, sir?
Doing well, Peter. Thanks for having me on today.
You bet. Hey, can you give everybody just a quick bio of
Uh,
yourself?
yeah, my name is Patrick Rooney. I been in the industry since the early '90s. Started the floor of the Merck, running paper and doing stuff, and learned technical analysis there. Worked through some trading shops, some hedge funds, and I've been with TT now for about 15 years. Although this is
Right.
purely independent of TT, what I'm talking about today. But yeah, so I've been around for quite a while. Been
Yeah.
on the buy side, been on the sell side, been all over the place.
Wonderful. And Peter Thomas is in the
Hey,
box number two, as he always is.
always
What's
is.
going on
Yes.
with you?
I'm just so happy to have Pat here. I want to tell everybody that many times over the years I'll be looking at something technical and I've been doing technical analysis a while and I'll throw Pat a note and I'll go, what does this look like to you? And he's always been kind enough to go, Pete, it looks like a blow off top or whatever the formation is. And the same with RP. We have two tremendous technical people here today. And part of our new push going into next year for the Zaner Metals is we are going to have a series of guests to educate. We want people to know not only what's happening in the markets, but the different tools that are available to you. I was shocked yesterday. I was talking to one of our biggest scrappers, and he had no idea that we have an entire futures division among our umbrella that he could have been hedging his fuel with. When I was saying to him, you should be buying crude at 33 or 35 going into 2022 because you're running all these rigs to run scrap. I think it might be a good move for you. He had no idea that we could even do that. So I think what we're going to try to do is just introduce people to the myriad of things that are available to them to protect their companies and to just more enrich themselves as to what's going on in the world today. We have Marco Byrne coming in and from Goldcore, formerly of Goldcore now, and he's going to come in and talk about the changes that are about to occur with the laws, but in Brexit and border transfers of gold, and I think that's going to be a fascinating show. I feel real lucky to have him, and Dr. Davis, who I've known for a while, and he's been in charge of platinum palladium in South Africa for almost 40 years now, is going to tell us about the changes that have been occurring. Are the electrical shortages really impeding platinum and palladium production? Things that are really, really pertinent to the market. And
I've got a
guys
I've
like
got an
Pat coming in,
AutoCat I got an AutoCat recycler that is very keen to hear what Dr. Davis has to say.
I bet you do. Yeah, let me tell you, he's quite the guy. I have one small announcement to make too. Today they officially called the World Gold Show off. The January Gold Show has been canceled due to COVID. So if you got tickets, I'm sorry guys, start calling the airlines. It ain't happening. And other than that, I'm really gonna let you guys take control of this because there's so much that I know the two of you could share with our viewers.
All right. Well, let's start out like we always do with
Sure.
gold. We had a really good week this week. Gold was up 2.3%, hit a 4-week high, just shy of $1,900.
Right.
I'm feeling pretty encouraged that the corrective low is in. There was the last couple of weeks I kept feeling like there was another shoe about to drop, and I was staying on the bullish side, largely because of silver. So I like the way silver kind of held where it needed to, and was kind of cueing my analysis off of that. But Pat, what do you think about gold from here?
A couple things I think about gold. One, I mean, I've got gold in kind of a bearish channel right now to a certain extent. It's been coming
Interesting.
off from early August, I guess. It's been coming off a little bit from there since the highs were 2,000, 2,100 some run there. So it's kind of resting around the highs that I've got that channel coming in right around 19. No, right around. I can't read that right now, can I? Yeah, right around $1,900, and we kind of played off that yesterday a little bit today. So
Yeah.
see if that holds up. Obviously it's pretty close there. Let's bump it in there pretty good. So we'll see. And yeah, that's kind of the way I look at it. I want to see if it gets through there. If it's got to close up through there, and that kind of breaks my whole channel at that point. We'll see where I go.
Yeah, I
Okay.
really like the 1900 level as kind of a confirmation point as well. And because what we've been experiencing through this corrective phase are that the safe haven buyers were exiting the market largely in the ETFs.
Yes.
So we saw a little bit of inflow action into the ETFs this past week, making me think that the focus has shifted. So kind of the main theme is vaccine, um,
Right.
economic recovery. Let's pile into commodities in the stock market and ditch the safe haven asset gold. And But there's another theme to that. If you start thinking about stimulus and recovery and all the money sloshing around in not just the U.S. economy but the global economy, arguably there's inflation risk. Now we're not seeing it yet, but it seems like that's should be on people's minds, and maybe that will can be attributed to some of the inflows we saw in ETFs this past week.
Well, Pat, we have the biggest dove in history going in to take over the Fed. I
Yeah.
mean that says something,
That's something I wonder about. I mean, you talk about the flows in the commodities and like that. I mean, with the dollar getting trashed the way it is, why isn't gold
Well,
higher than it is anyway?
yeah,
I mean,
that's
dollar
a
index
very
got down to
germane question.
$90, is getting hammered, and that makes me kind of suspicious of the whole gold rally, and what if makes me think this channel might hold. I mean, dollar was up a little bit today, but dollars is getting hammered,
Oh, it's
and
getting killed.
why
And not
why
only
isn't
that,
gold over 2,000 right
by
now
the way,
anyway?
gentlemen, I'm watching CNN comes across and says, yeah, we should be going to war with Russia over this latest hack. And I'm like going, excuse me? A major network is talking about bombing Russia and gold's like $3 lower. And I'm
Eh,
like going, seriously? I was
Yeah.
like,
yeah,
what? Very strange day,
It's something
right.
suspicious about that, and you see that talk. People are going from gold into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's hitting these new highs.
Yeah,
Is that
right,
really
right.
is that a real story? I mean, you tell me. You're more the metal experts than I am. So
Well, I mean, the thing is, I just, where's the FBI in this? They haven't made a statement.
yeah,
All right, the people who are in charge are protecting us haven't said a word. So as far as I know, I'm just blank stare and I don't know nothing. I'm over here in the corner.
Right.
yeah,
I will say, Patrick, that you make a good point about the what would typically be an inverse correlation between gold and the dollar, and that's part of the lingering thing in the back of my mind that maybe there was another shoe to drop on the gold market, because you're right. I think with the dollar under pressure like this, gold should be quite a bit higher, and so what happens? Do we see the gold drop one more time and then rebound out of here, or does gold start playing catch up?
yeah,
And I find myself this week, anyways, leaning a little bit towards kind of gold playing a little catch up on the upside, catching up with silver
yeah.
Interesting.
primarily. And so maybe that's the opportunity to jump into silver. So silver was up almost 8% this week. It set a 12-week high,
Right.
and
Amazing.
the just shy of $26, and the ratio is all the way back down at 72. The gold silver ratio. So silver is looking really strong at this point.
And from
Um,
my standpoint, from a non-technical standpoint, guys, you know that the majority of the people that hedge smaller amounts of bullion and coins and our coin dealers that are on the Tornado platform protecting their inventory, we saw the largest outflow of inventory that we've seen in years. I mean, our dealers are selling coins like there's no tomorrow. It is amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's the demand seems to be there for sure for
Right?
the physical product, and
Yeah.
And even though we did see, sort of corresponding outflows from the silver ETFs in recent weeks,
Right.
there was a fair amount of bargain hunting, at those, in the 23s, $22
Pat,
level.
where's the overhead resistance here?
Well, I do think silver's kind of broken out a little bit, and I did some writing about silver this week a little bit too. I don't think it's got any
You do
problem
that in
getting
your
up.
show, in your new show, on your new podcast?
Yeah, I put something up on LinkedIn about it in my LinkedIn
Okay.
account.
All right.
I kind of talked about the gold silver ratio to a certain extent, just saying it's broken so badly.
Yeah.
We saw it last year run up to 125, and it's
Sure
come up,
did.
and I remember when $80 is like ridiculously high in that thing.
Oh, I
and,
do too.
we ran up to 125, and now we're back down to 72. But it seems like the fundamentals behind it are just so incredibly broken because there's so many reasons. It seems like every week there's a new reason to buy silver. There's another reason that silver is good for, it's good for electric cars. Silver is good. It's got a COVID, it's a COVID cure.
Yeah,
Every
silver
time you turn around,
nanoparticles for nasal spray for COVID.
right.
You're 100% right.
They keep coming up with more utility for actual gold, or I'm sorry,
Yep.
for silver.
For silver.
Well, the utility for gold just pretty much the same story. It's used in some industrial stuff a little bit, of course, but
Of course.
it's more the safe haven stuff, and now there's other safe havens that are popping up. So it'd be interesting to see.
Both of you are feeling that we've pretty much taken out what current resistance we're looking at. Pete, you agree with that?
I would agree with that. I'd get a little additional encouragement on a close above $26. I'll point out that the ratio around 72 is about 61.8% retracement, so it corresponds pretty closely to the retracement level in the rally, the recent correction in the ratio. So a little bit more downside, probably a close below 72 would be a green light, in my opinion, for the bullish silver scenario. And I like $30. I like another run at $30.
Yeah, I know. You've been talking $30 for a while. He's got this syringe in his arm over there.
Wouldn't rule it out.
Well, but you know what? If both of you guys are saying that there isn't too much over the top of it, I've always bowed to your technical stuff. So we'll see. And like I'm saying, we're seeing product moving off the shelf. We're seeing our hedgers coming in aggressively. Our guys that produce wire, silver wire has such a low R value. It's great for passage of electricity, and also it's mixed with leads and various things for silver solder on computers. It's moving, it's selling. Yeah. So from my side, I have to agree with both of you. I really do.
It's the whole economic recovery scenario with stimulus that is likely to have sort of a green bias, if you will. So
right,
all things electric and pollution mitigating.
Which I gotta ask you, it takes us right into copper, guys. Come on. I mean, has anybody seen a market stronger than this? I mean, this is just scary.
Let's talk the numbers. Up 2.9% last week, near a 7-year high. So just
8-year high. Yeah.
7th consecutive higher weekly close. The thing's on fire.
Yeah.
And if you're talking the economic recovery scenario, the thing you watch is copper, right?
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. What's the crystal ball telling you, Pat?
I can't find a reason to not like copper to a great extent.
Okay.
I mean, there's just nothing there. There's nothing there to stop it. There's so many things that are going forward right now that it's hard not to like it. The technicals all continue to look good. Fundamentals look good. Everything just says copper. So.
Well, yeah. I will say this: BlackRock and Goldman both agree with you. They came out of the box a couple of weeks ago and said, "Hey, we're going to own this stuff." So I just don't see anybody getting in. You have to have a seller to break a market down or run out of buyers, and it doesn't seem like there's either.
Yeah, or some new big source of supply. And that doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
Then, how soon can they get the vaccine to Mexico, to Peru, to Chile? and get out. But you have 40,000 miners in Chile. How long will it take to get it there and get it out? And then they're a very superstitious group too. I mean, are they going to say, I'm sorry, I'm not using it. I'm not going to take it. Then what happens? I mean,
Right.
this is a very interesting scenario here,
Yeah. So I'm thinking that the supply tightness is not going to be mitigated anytime real soon.
Okay.
And so I like, other than, the fact that it's pretty overbought after seven higher weekly closes.
Yeah.
You get any kind of pullback, I think you're going to see buyers step back in.
As far as going back to the fundamentals, I've been hearing they're still having transport issues with it too, so they can't really give it around too much. So
You know what? That's a very, very valid point. I'm glad you added that because that has also, Pat, that's what's been affecting our silver coins from the United States Mint. Director Ryder has told me, he said, Pete, it isn't a matter of what we're stamping. We have product to stamp. He goes, it's moving it. So that really holds a great deal of validity to what I'm hearing everywhere.
Yeah. Market looks good.
What about platinum, palladium, guys? What are the PGMs telling you?
Right. So another good week in platinum as well. It's off the high that was set at around 1080 3 weeks ago. So we've had like 2 weeks of consolidation, but here too, I think the market looks really good. I mean, since Pete, you started talking about hydrogen fuel cell technology, 2 months ago now?
2.5, 3 months ago,
I don't know if I'm noticing them more because of you or people are just piling on, but there's
I think it was more of a pile on. We did a show where we talked about the segregation using a membrane with the platinum coating in order to split water into hydrogen and oxygen, which is now miraculously turned up in China. And I think it's going to get bigger and bigger. Here's a number for you, Pat. 5 million barrels of crude oil are used every day to move ships around the oceans around the world. And we could cut 20% of the world's pollution if we went to hydrogen. That's a hard number to fight. You know what I'm saying?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Elon Musk doesn't agree.
Elon and I offered Elon nickel back when it was at nothing, and I told him I could open the mines in the Philippines, and what did I get? Crickets. So he and I, there's no love anymore. Okay.
He's poo-pooing this whole hydrogen technology,
and I'm Danish on top of it all. I still got the stuff.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Yeah. So again, the platinum market looks really good. Holding above $1,000, I think is encouraging. Palladium has been moving pretty sideways, and I think it's largely a correction in the ratio that kind of got out of whack for a while. But
where do you see a top? Is there a channel forming in palladium? I'm very interested. I don't know.
No, I don't see anything on palladium at all. It's just been in a grind for 5 months now, and I have no direction for it whatsoever.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm still favorable. I think ultimately that it's going to be a long time before the hydrogen fuel cell infrastructure is built out.
We're at least a year
China
away from anything.
Yeah, so with China, pushing towards carbon neutrality, and again, anything out of China,
China's moving towards carbon neutrality, like I don't know what, but I'll tell you something.
So we got a few years.
They just signed a 1 billion ton coal deal, and they don't put scrubbers on those things either. By the way, they killed 1.3 million of their citizens with pollution last year. I don't think they're too concerned about it. That's just me, though.
Well, I think they will continue to move towards catalytic converters on their cars, on their internal combustion cars, and I think that ultimately, particularly with platinum kind of closing the distance with palladium a little bit, anyways, that there's still going to be decent demand for palladium as well.
Well, they passed the Green Deal. It was supposed to be in effect for a decade. they have I mean, they used literally in China, they would cut the converters off to increase their gas mileage, and they just see the smoke billowing off of things, and they have stopped doing that to some extent, and as Peter, way better than I do. When they put their mind to something in China, they can get it done. So the
They can get
question
it
just
done.
becomes, how hard do they push?
They got the manpower for sure.
Yeah.
So, well, like I said, I'm inclined to be leaning towards the upside in Palladium.
Okay.
I think that the market is still in deficit. I think it's going to remain in deficit, even as platinum becomes more appealing. So I like basically all the commodities with an industrial bent to them.
And well, very shortly we'll have the leading expert in the world in production of platinum on the show, and we'll get down to the real nitty gritty, and hopefully he'll be able to share with us what's really happening rather than the hearsay that dribbles out of there. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of looking forward to that. What haven't we covered, Pat? Anything that you feel is important to put out there?
Yeah, I mean, I watched a lot of the other contracts that had to tie into that. I watch steel, I watch iron ore a lot, I watch steel a lot, and I
I
watch
know you watch
scrap,
iron.
LME
That's right.
scrap.
Yeah.
Iron ore to me was kind of the big story because iron ore really held up really firm throughout the whole pandemic. That was the one that surprised me the most strength wise, and a lot of that's kind of spilled over now because along with copper, really it bottomed out back in like March, and you've seen a lot of that spill over now into things like HRC steel as well as scrap.
Yeah.
And that
Well,
just
yeah.
that talks about, when you got scrap going, you got rebar going, we're having problems getting stuff built. They just don't have enough to actually build the stuff.
That's
So that's
interesting. Yeah.
I think it talks a lot that it's not a supply issue. There is definitely a demand issue going on too, because they can't find stuff to really build with. So
Yeah, I'm hearing that like home appliances are like impossible to get all of a sudden. So
yeah,
That's interesting.
yeah,
That's
it's
interesting. Yeah.
it's been a
Well,
real
we saw a little, maybe 3, 4, 5 months ago, a slowdown in rolled steel, which is really the bottom line for this. I mean, you don't have rolled steel, you're not making washers, you're not making dryers or refrigerators, whatever else.
right.
So I think that goes to what you guys are saying, you can't ignore, iron. You can't ignore it because it's the fundamental basis for everything.
Yeah,
yeah,
I think
and
the pandemic has manifested in some very interesting ways,
Okay.
with regards to the markets, and appliances and rolled steel is a good example of that. As people spend more time at their homes, they're like, I need a new refrigerator. I'm
Right.
like stocking
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
so much
yeah,
more stuff, in here to feed myself 3 meals a day and my family 3 meals a day. Need a bigger
Right.
fridge, and why not
Yeah.
get a new stove and a washer and a and
Yeah. I got a kid. Yeah. Well, a lot. Yeah, all the home appliances. I mean, all of them. They're all getting replaced. And plus the fact that we also saw that, I think, what really got silver lit up was the fact that people were just upgrading computers. I mean, they were just going like, I can't do Zoom on this. I can't do, well, I can't
yeah.
work as fast as I want to work on. And they were just, I just talked to a guy who went through 3 laptops in the past 6 months. I'm like, the people are buying things that use silver and in a big way.
right. Yeah. What else do we have to talk about? So, well, how about oil? I mean, is oil going to go back to $50? What do you think, Pat?
I
I
don't
think
think it
so.
has a choice.
Yeah,
I don't
I
think it
think
has a
so too.
choice.
Yeah, I don't think it has no sale. I guess definitely to get up there because the demand's there, and again you've got shipping issues there too. I mean, they're
Yep.
having problems moving stuff around. The demand's there. It's I don't see what's going to stop oil at this point.
I
This
think,
is
yeah,
go
the
ahead.
Fed was sort of indicating that, one of the reasons we haven't seen, inflation at the consumer levels so far, is that, oil that, is
Yeah.
Yeah,
still, you know, trading below $50. But I think if it gets
yeah,
below $50, it can go to 60 pretty fast. So
but you hit it. You hit in a very salient point too, because you look at a lot of the commodity indexes that people look at, the CRB index, the Goldman Sachs index, they're heavily weighted into crude. They're heavily weighted into oil. So since those indices aren't like through the roof, it's like, well, inflation's not there, but inflation's there, man. We've got
it is
inflation all
there.
over the place.
I
That's
agree.
interesting.
So
That's interesting.
People
Yeah.
just need to take notice. And once they take notice, they buy gold.
yeah,
Oh yeah, absolutely. So so we're gonna say to our scrappers, to our refiners, to our guys that are moving product all over this country, as well as I mean, we have a lot of guys up in Canada and Australia. You know, give us a call. Let's we're putting together a little bit of a program for hedging energy. Hopefully we'll have it together in a few weeks and have some charting points for you. And I think this is something that can't be ignored anymore. I think Pat really nailed this one on the head. I really do.
appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen.
All
I
right,
think
guys.
we've covered it all.
Yeah.
With that, I am Peter Grant with Zaner Metals in Denver. Have a great trading week.
Pete Thomas in Chicago, and always a pleasure to have you. And Pat, gosh, it's been great to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. You can always find me on Twitter at Patrick Rooney, and you'll see my charts there. Take care, all.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I can tell you his charting work is excellent. There's not even a question.